From his early days as the ambitious actor Lon Chaney to his eerie transformation into a staple of the Cenobite crew, Face's journey is the epitome of the grotesque and the bizarre. With a hobby of collecting faces and a knack for dark arts, he's the embodiment of your worst nightmares. Now, there have been innumerable Cenobites in the Hellraiser universe, but there are only a few who are as vicious and as twisted as Face, and he maintains his character even after becoming a Cenobite. So without further ado, let's explore this nefarious minion of hell.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Backstory of Face Cenobite. In 1923, Lon Chaney was known in the biz as a master of disguise and a real character actor. He had a knack for making his roles super realistic because of his crazy makeup and mask work. But when I say he used some crazy makeup and mask, I mean crazy, really crazy. The guy was so into his craft that he went to the extreme of literally peeling off a dude's face, Faggot, for a more authentic look in his Oliver Twist role. This caught the eye of Leviathan, and the next thing you know, Pinhead steps in. He kills Faggot and offers Chaney the face as a kind of twisted bonus. Chaney's career kept skyrocketing and he got super hooked on the face-stealing thing. While prepping for the Hunchback of Notre Dame, he snatched the face of Henrik, a freak show performer in London. So yeah, you could say that this guy was quite dedicated to his job and was all about getting into character, but for all the wrong reasons. Things got personal when Chaney proposed to Patty Ruth Miller, his girl, but she was already engaged to Norman Carey, Chaney's work buddy. Chaney didn't take the rejection well, and I guess guys like him, they can never take any kind of rejection well. Quite expectedly, he went after Carey and scarred his face with sulfuric acid, but Detective Murray was on his tail for the previous face-stealing shenanigans. Chaney had to escape. It turns out that Pinhead had been pulling the strings all along. After Chaney's last run-in with the law, Pinhead whisked him off to hell, where Chaney got a hellish makeover into the Cenobite simply called Face. Now, the guy was stuck with a bunch of stapled faces on his head and ran the Grand Theater in hell, a far cry from the silver screen dreams, but still in the spotlight, albeit in a twisted way. 1989. In the story titled The Warm Red, we meet Brian Rhodes, a cattle rancher whose business tanked. The dude makes a deal with Face, the Cenobite, to hand over tortured souls using his scalpel. But things can't be so simple with Hellraiser comics, so we get Maureen Endicott, who tries to charm Brian into selling his land for an amusement park. But Brian has other plans. He drugs her and sets her up for Face. But the spicy bit is yet to come. Brian calls up Face using the Lambert configuration and offers Maureen as a new soul. But Maureen was a quick thinker and she cut her own deal with Face, offering up future amusement park goers instead. Face, intrigued, tests her by having her torture Brian, who was tied naked to a bed before Maureen could start her work on him, as a sort of audition. This story was a bit too hot for Marvel back in the day. Daniel Chichester, the editor of Clive Barker's Hellraiser series, revealed that Marvel thought The Warm Red was way too disturbing to print. They believed it was too much, the sexual stuff, the nudity, and a no-go for the first issue. But Chichester ensured that the story was published. But come on, the comic was supposed to be disturbing. It's Clive Barker's Hellraiser, for crying out loud. Devil's Brigade. So it's 1991 and we've got Face in the middle of his torture day job when suddenly Leviathan via Flagellum calls him up for a new task. He's sent to keep an eye on Leo Chabelle, a dude on the edge of losing it for good. Leo's depression might push him into chaos rather than helping him sort out his community's mess. Now, there's this play called The Heart of Elegance by Garrison Elliott, which never saw the light of day. Elias Trimble, the guy guarding the puzzle of a play, hands it over to Lisa Ann Mercer. She's all pumped to use it to revive the Street Haven, a homeless shelter Leo built, but Leo was not on board with her plan. Things get real when Lisa Ann accidentally cuts herself on the play, which turns out to be some sort of freaky gateway. Face shows up and takes over Lisa Ann's body. With Lisa under his control, Face gives Leo the cash he needs to keep the shelter running. Leo, totally unaware of what's going down, ends up thanking Face in Lisa Ann's body with a kiss. Leo also runs the Street Haven, his homeless shelter, and decides to throw a big celebration march. But the dude starts feeling a bit worn out and wants a break, so he splurges some shelter funds on a necklace for Lisa Ann, not knowing she still has Face controlling her body. Things take a dark turn when Leo, called out for not donating to a homeless guy, completely loses it and forces money down the guy's throat. In fact, he wishes the guy dead. Then, in a real twisted confession to Face, who is still in the whole Lisa Ann mode, Leo admits he killed his little sister back in the day, a crime that was blamed on sudden infant death syndrome. Flagellum, kind of a heavenly superhero supervisor warns Face he's pushing Leo too hard. Face, admitting he got a bit carried away, tries to fix the mess by reanimating Lisa Ann's corpse, which totally freaks Leo out. In a mad panic, Leo rips off what he thinks is Lisa Ann's face, but surprise, it's Face. He ditches Lisa Ann's skin and faces Leo head-on. Leo, totally losing his grip, rips off the face that Face is wearing, only to see his own mug staring back at him. This sends him over the edge. He bolts into the streets and ends up killing a homeless man, and Face is left there thinking, man, I went too far, but what a show. Later, there's this big courtroom drama going down in hell, and Face is in the hot seat. He's standing trial before Praetor Abator, a big-wig judge in the underworld. The whole crew from Vesa Iniquitatis is there, except for Pinhead. Praetor's job is to weigh Face's heart and judge his recent shenanigans with Leo Chabelle. Turns out Praetor thinks Face messed up big time, calling it a win for chaos instead of order. Just when it seems like chaos has the upper hand, Gryot, the Cenobite who's supposed to keep an accurate record of events, gets caught for faking the news. He quickly gets the axe, but hold up, we see Pinhead entering the scene in what can be called a grand entrance. He demands everyone to chill out. He takes out Praetor Abator himself and declares that order has actually won. He goes on to explain how everything that went down, including Face's fiasco, was actually part of his grand plan all along. The Crystal Precipice. In 1992, Face was chilling around in the labyrinth and witnessed the call to arms, which was this major event where the general rounded up the Lucky Six, a team of heavy-hitting Cenobites, to fight against the Harrowers, including the likes of Merkova and Turpis. In 1993, Pinhead was doing some time hopping, revisiting his past lives. Face is all geared up to go on a time travel rescue mission to bring Pinhead back, but ends up getting benched and doesn't make the cut for the trip. Then Face's story fast-forwards to a distant future on another planet, where he was overseeing his pet project, the Crystal Precipice. This thing is another portal linking Earth to Hell, waiting for humans to crack it open. Things go south when Ernest, who was a part of a stranded crew, assaults Andrea, a crewmate. Ernest finds the precipice, gives up some flesh, and then goes on a rampage before capturing Andrea. Face steps in and takes Andrea out, trying to keep her friends Barry and Felice from tracking them. Ernest gets another idea, wanting Barry and Felice to get close to the precipice, which they've been chasing like mad. Ernest manages to kill Barry, but Felice fights back, injuring Ernest before falling to her death. Ernest accidentally damages the precipice in the process. Face is not amused. He reveals that the Crystal Precipice is actually made up of souls like Andrea, Felice, and Barry, who are now free from their bodies. Ernest, on the other hand, messed up big time. Face and his Cenobite pals dragged Ernest to hell, where he's slated to become a Cenobite pet, a fate worse than death. Powers and abilities. Face, the Cenobite, has got super strength and can shrug off damage like it's nothing, and is pretty much immortal. The dude's got some serious skills in dark magic and can mess with people's heads, making them part of his twisted axe. He can totally control one person at a time, either by bending their will or just straight up possessing them, dead or alive. Needless to say, the guy's fashion sense is out there. He's got this creepy collection of human faces he swaps out depending on his mood, plus he rocks these hand-skin gloves. Talk about having a face for every occasion. And of course, he can get inside people's bodies to control them, and it can even reanimate corpses. Cenobites in general are a freaky bunch. They appear whenever and wherever they want once they're summoned. They're pro-stalkers, always able to track down the souls who called them, and their physical game is also pretty strong. They can toss people around like they're nothing. They've got some low-key telekinesis too, as they can control their signature hook chains or grab stuff from afar. These chains seem to come out of nowhere, like from shadows or something. They can shapeshift, withstand a ton of pain, create illusions, and read emotions like an open book. Each Cenobite has their own set of unique powers, but they all share these spooky traits. Plus, they're pretty smart, patient, and logical, which makes them even scarier. If you're a fan of the Hellraiser franchise or the horror genre in general, Marvelous Videos is the place to be. Trust us, we have such sights to show you.
If you enjoyed this video, click on the like button and comment below about which other movie reviews you would want to watch. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.